So tonight we've got Dr. Elliot Coups, and he is actually a Ph.D., and he's an associate professor of medicine in the oncology division at the Rutgers Cancer Institute and the Robert Wood Johnson, I guess we call it Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School now. Dr. Coups, are you there?
Yes, I am. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks so much for taking time on your Saturday evening. So here we are. We're entering the summer. I always call this time of year really the most dangerous time of year for your skin because most people have pretty light skin at this time of year. And even if you're darker skinned, your skin is at its lightest during at this point in time because we've gone through the winter, we've covered up, and we've lost our summer tan, which is somewhat protective. We don't want to get in the sun a lot, but we're at our lightest, and this is the time right now, this weekend, or last weekend or next weekend, we're going out to the beach. We're spending hours without much protection. So this is a particularly dangerous time of year for your skin. Do you agree?
I certainly do, although of course it's important to protect your skin year-round, but certainly this time of year when it's the UV rating is very high and it's very hot outside is a particularly important time to really be careful about your skin.
That's right. So today we had a UV index of 5, which is considered high, not terrible. There was some cloud cover today. It wasn't terrible. Tomorrow it's going to be a 2. Then we go up into the 5s, and then we start getting into 10 and 11 days in New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut, and those are particularly dangerous for your skin. So now let's talk about skin cancer because on this show we talk a lot about aging skin and wrinkles and things like that, and those are very important for people, but the more important result of getting exposed to the sun and ultraviolet light is unfortunately skin cancer. How many cases of skin cancer are there a year, let's say, in the state of New Jersey?
So, as you mentioned previously, there are a number of different kinds of skin cancer. The most deadly, but fortunately the least common type of skin cancer is melanoma skin cancer. And in the state of New Jersey, around 2,000 people a year are diagnosed with melanoma skin cancer. And that translates roughly to about 21 cases per year per 100,000 people, which is actually a little bit higher than the national average of 20. But of course, we shouldn't forget that there are many, many more cases of non-melanoma skin cancer, those basal and squamous cell cancers that you have mentioned previously, that are much more prevalent, less likely to cause significant damage or mortality, as long as they're caught early. So that's really a very important thing. So melanoma is less common but more deadly, but we really shouldn't forget those non-melanoma skin cancers as well.
Okay, so here we are. We're right in the beginning of June, and it's time for everybody to go shopping for sunscreen. And we talk a lot about sunscreen on this show. So if you're going to be going to the beach or spending any significant time at the beach or in the sun playing tennis or even in the garden, I was out in the garden for several hours today battling those weeds. Very important to use sunscreen. So what's your recommendation of a sunscreen? What SPF do you recommend?
So my general recommendation regarding sunscreen and broadly is the best sunscreen is the one that you'll use appropriately, and that you'll reapply. So, and for one person that might be a lotion, for another person that might be a spray, it might be a stick, and you might want a combination of those for different areas of the skin. And so really choose a sunscreen that you like and that you'll use. That's the most important thing, because using any sunscreen is better than no sunscreen. That's the first thing to remember. And it may take time to find the one that you like, and that's okay. Shop around. There's many different kinds. But in terms of things like SPF, sun protection factor rating, certainly we recommend using an SPF sunscreen of 30 or more, and that protects against 97% of the sun's UVB rays, which is what that rating is really describing. You can go up to 50 or more if you like, but really that provides only a minimal additional protection, because it's only protecting 98% of UV rays. And sometimes what's going to happen with those very high SPF rating sunscreens is they can get a little greasy, or they can leave a sheen on your skin, which some people don't like, so they're less likely to use them. So if you have an SPF 50 or higher sunscreen that you like and you use, that's great. But really, if you find an SPF 30 sunscreen, that's really, really important to use. And the main things are really apply before you go out in the sun. Apply at least 15 minutes before you go out in the sun is very important. and then reapply at least every 2 hours, or more often if you're sweating, you're in the water, that kind of thing is really very important. The other thing to know is that most people in the U.S. apply less than half the recommended amount of sunscreen. So you really need to put on more than you think. And there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can apply it in 2 layers. So you might apply it fully, then do it again. Or you can really make sure you put on a thick layer of sunscreen, thicker than you might think and thicker than you might usually do. One guide is that about an ounce or a shot glass full of sunscreen is roughly what the average person would need to cover their body. But really, make sure you're using a lot, use more than you think, and reapply early and often are the most important things.
Excellent advice. My guest this evening is Dr. Elliot Coups, and he is an associate professor of medicine in the oncology. That's the cancer division of the Rutgers Cancer Institute and the Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. And this guy is the expert in skin cancer and in sunscreen. So what you just said was so important. The dose of sunscreen is an ounce. That's huge. It's huge. There's the only other medication, and it really is a medication, that we take in ounce form is probably antacid, those of us who take antacids. Everything else, if you think about it, you're taking a Tylenol, that's 500 milligrams, a very small amount, but an ounce is not. And one of the ways I like to tell people to how much to use is, remember the bottle caps from soda or beer? Well, those bottle caps are actually very useful in measuring the amount of sunscreen. So a lot of us just cover up with clothing for their body and need sunscreen for our face. And the bottle cap, if you use a half of a bottle cap, that gives you enough sunscreen for your entire face. And I think it's a good idea. I think I'll post on my website the complete bottle cap system so you can see how many bottle caps. It's like 2 for the arms and 3 for the legs, that sort of thing. And that kind of gives you a guideline of how much sunscreen to use. So that's very, very important. And I wanted to thank you for mentioning that. So what are some of the other things? If people don't like sunscreen, which you should be using, how can you protect yourself from the sun?
Yeah, of course. And actually, the really important thing to remember is that using multiple approaches is really the best way to get full protection from the sun. So ideally, use sunscreen if you can. But also, it's important to cover up with clothing and a wide-brimmed hat as well. So clothing really provides a very good defense against the sun. So wear a long-sleeve shirt if you can, long pants if that's possible. Also, you can get clothing that has what's called a UPF, an ultraviolet protection factor rating, and that'll give you a sense of how much protection the clothing is providing against the sun. Ideally, look for UPF clothing with a rating of 30 or higher, but it isn't absolutely necessary to buy that clothing. You can also use your regular clothing that you have. Some things to remember are that actually darker colored clothing will provide more protection against the sun. Also, clothing that has a tighter weave. So if you hold up the clothing to the light and you can see through it a lot, that doesn't have a very tight weave. It will provide less protection than clothing that if you hold up, less light comes through. So that's an important way to really think about what types of clothing you might wear that can provide protection against the sun. Also, seek shade if you can. The sun is at its strongest from 10 in the morning until 4 in the afternoon. So if you can try and avoid the sun as much as possible during those peak UV hours, that's really key too. If you are out during those times, seek shade under an umbrella if you can, if you're at the beach, something like that, or under a shade tent. Also, it's really important, and this is one thing that people often forget, is it's very important to wear sunglasses. We often think about wearing sunscreen and clothing to protect ourselves, but the eyes can really be damaged from excess UV exposure as well. So really protect yourself from potentially getting cataracts or other eye damage by wearing sunglasses. Look for on the label that it protects from 99 to 100% of the sun's UVA, UVB rays. Most sunglasses will protect that way, but double check that label just to make sure that is the case. So those are some of the really important ways of covering up, wearing your sunscreen, sunglasses, seek shade when you can, and that's very important too.
All right, so we've got about 1 more minute, and I want you to just tell everybody, and I've talked about this on the show, what are the warning signs for pigmented things on your skin? When should those pigmented when should you point those out to a dermatologist or a plastic surgeon or even a general doctor? Give us the guidelines.
So we can think of a mnemonic, a rule called the ABCDE rule, but I'm going to add an F to that as well. So the ABCDE rule says that if you notice a mole or other mark on your skin that is either asymmetrical, that means that one half looks different than the other half, that's a potential warning sign. Additionally, warning signs are for border irregularity. So the edges of the mole are uneven.
Dr. Coups, hang on one second. We're going to be interrupted by a hard break, what they call it in radio. So if you can hang on just for a second, this is a very important point. We're going to take a short break. Hang on, and at the other side of the break, let's talk.
Rwj Health System has a new way to stay connected to you.
Your wrist bone's connected to your X-ray. Your X-ray is connected to your orthopedist.
Introducing RWJ Health Connect, a convenient online portal to quickly access and manage your health records, schedule appointments, view test results, and more.
Your orthopedist is connected to the OR. The OR is connected to your blood work.
With RWJ Health Connect, your electronic medical records are accessible 24/7 from your phone, tablet, or computer.
Your blood work's connected to your family doctor. Your family doctor is connected to the Robert Wood Johnson Health System.
RWJ Health Connect keeps your information confidential so that you're securely connected to all hospitals and participating doctors.
And RWJ is connected to you.
Visit rwjconnect.com to register online for RWJ Health Connect. Better access for better health.
The Financial Quarterback is looking for new financial advisors to join his growing team. Jelinski Advisory Group has offices in New Jersey and New York. Call 888-988-JOSH for more information. That's 888-988-JOSH. Remember, the Financial Quarterback is looking for new financial advisors to join his growing team. Call 888-988-JOSH for more information. That's 888-988-JOSH. Listen to the Financial Quarterback every Sunday morning from 9 to 10 a.m.
This is Rachel Ash, here with my co-host, Ash Center Medical Director, Dr. Anthony Lyon. We are excited to host the all-new Sick and Tired of Being Sick and Tired Sunday afternoons from 3 to 5 p.m.
I'm Anthony Lyon. Each week, we take your calls live and discuss the very best in progressive medicine and alternative therapies that will truly help you on your health and wellness journey.
If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, join us this and every Sunday, 3 to 5 p.m. or log on to ashcenter.com.
Sick and Tired of Being Sick and Tired. Sundays from 3 to 5 p.m.
Hi, I'm Brian Scudamore from 1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Honey, the magic is here.
Great! I can hardly wait.
Come on in, guys.
Thanks.
We point at junk and it disappears, right?
You've obviously heard the radio ads.
But those ads are true, aren't they?
Point at something. Anything at all.
Even if it's outside?
Anything.
That was fun.
I love this.
It's gone.
All you have to do is point.
I love this job.
Me too.
People are just so happy when their stuff disappears.
The house feels so much bigger.
Is there anything you'd like us to get from the attic?
Absolutely. Follow me.
How do you do that?
We come when it's convenient for you.
Call today before noon and we'll be there today. Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK?
1-800-GOT-JUNK.
Or visit 1-800-GOTJUNK.com.
You're listening to What's Your Wrinkle with Dr. Arthur Perry. What's your wrinkle?
And we are back. This is Dr. Arthur Perry, and tonight we're talking about skin cancer and the effects of sun. And we got Dr. Elliot Coups, who is an associate professor of medicine from the Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, the Robert Wood Johnson Medical School, the Rutgers Cancer Institute. He's got a lot of titles. And before the break, we were talking about the warning signs. You know, what to look out for if you have a mole. So he has an acronym, A, B, C, D, and he's going to add an F. So go ahead, Dr. Coups. Continue what you were saying.
Certainly. So if you have any of these warning signs, it's important to get them checked out by a dermatologist. That's the main thing to say. So B stands for border irregularity. That means you have a mole or mark on the skin where the edges are notched, they're uneven, they might be blurred. C stands for color variation. That means that the mole or mark on the skin has got multiple colors or multiple shades of a single color. So it might be multiple types of brown. It might be brown and red or black. That's a warning sign. Additionally, D stands for diameter greater than 6 millimeters or about a quarter inch. So if you measure across the mole at its longest point and it's larger than that amount, 6 millimeters, a quarter inch, that's a sign that it could be something to get checked out. E stands for evolving. And that means that the mole is changing in size, color, shape, elevation, or any other way that you've noticed that it's changed. That's another warning sign. And we'll add to that F, and F stands for funny looking. So that means if you have a mole or mark on the skin that looks very different than all of the other marks on your skin or moles, and we sometimes call it the ugly duckling sign, that's also a final sign that you should really go to a dermatologist to get a full body skin examination.
Great advice from Dr. Elliot Coups, a professor of oncology at Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital at the Rutgers Robert Wood Johnson Medical School. And I second everything you said, and I want to give out the number. If you are interested in a consultation with a dermatologist or a plastic surgeon at the Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital, they have an 800 number. It's 888-MD-RWJUH. It's 888-MD-RWJUH. There's a website, rwjuh.edu. Once again, rwjuh.edu. You can go to that website 24 hours a day. You can actually call the 800 number 24 hours a day and get the name of a doctor. And also, just you can read more about what Dr. Coups was saying. There's lots of information about all sorts of medical issues, including skin cancers, on that website. So thanks so much, Dr. Elliot Coups. It's a pleasure having you as a guest.
You're most welcome. Thank you so much indeed.